Let's talk now to Jack Valero from the group Catholic Voices. Good evening to you,
Hello.
Jack. One commentator we spoke to a little earlier said that while he didn't like some of the things the Vatican had been saying recently, he thought that in this case, this letter had indeed been taken out of context. Do you agree?
It seems so. I mean, it deals with one aspect of the case, which is the defrocking of this priest. But it doesn't seem to indicate any cover-up. The case was known to the diocese, was known to the authorities, was being dealt with. The priest had been suspended. He hadn't any access to children or young people. And the case was being studied. And this letter from Cardinal Ratzinger just said, look, if you're going to judge this man, you know, take care that you do it properly and take your time. And then 2 years later, which in legal terms is not a long time, he was defrocked.
Some people would say, though, if someone is found guilty of serious crimes like this, why doesn't the Church defrock them? Why didn't the Church defrock him straight away?
That's what happens now, but I think the procedures have been tightened up. And a lot of that has come from the work of Cardinal Ratzinger those years that he was working for Pope John Paul. Don't forget that he only got the job to deal with these cases in 2001. Prior to 2001, it was all a bit messy. It was mostly to do with the to be dealt with by the local diocese, which in some cases were incompetent, and other departments in the Vatican. Then in 2001, Pope John Paul thought, this isn't working. You know, there are all these cases coming up and they're not being dealt with quickly enough. And people, and it needs doing. So he actually appointed Cardinal Ratzinger to centralize all these cases, you know, and deal with them. And he is said to have taken all the files that were sent then to Rome in 2001 and spent a year reading them, and at the end of that had a conversion experience thinking, wow, this is a major problem, this needs sorting out now. The process needs to be speeded up, everything.
So you're saying that things have changed hugely in the Vatican since the time of the case concerning this former priest,
Sure.
Stephen Keasley.
Yes.
But clearly now the Vatican is recognising that things need to change still further. And this is really quite incredible, isn't it, when you look at it in the bigger context. Never before has a pope come under such direct criticism and attack even from members of the church, the laity.
Well, I don't think that he's coming under attack by the laity. I think, you know, obviously
well,
the media...
I think he's coming under attack from ordinary people. Let's say criticism from ordinary people. Of course he is. It's not just the media.
No, I think the media is right to ask the questions and of those in power and probe and see if, you know, there's any corruption there or any malfeasance. But the ordinary people obviously are to read the media and follow what it says, you know. So obviously the ordinary people have been affected. But think about it. These stories are not about the safety of children in the church today, because the church today, the Catholic Church today, is extremely safe. In the USA, in the UK, procedures have been in place since 2001, 2002, and it's one of the safest places for children in the world now, the Catholic Church. So these stories are not about rooting out paedophiles from the church, which in the main have been rooted out. Of course, you can never get rid of all the bad people. These stories are about finding who was guilty of not doing the right thing back then.
So you're saying that was certainly not Pope Benedict or Cardinal Ratzinger as he was then. And just before we came on air, you said if members of the media are looking for some kind of smoking gun regarding Pope Benedict and what he did in relation to priests accused of sexual abuse, they're not going to find it. However, the story is out there. And how much additional damage is this doing, do you think, to the moral authority of the Church?
I think it's doing a lot of damage because people don't know what to believe, and now they believe, probably they believe that the Pope is personally involved, when in fact if you look at all the stories, and I think that the media is right to bring the stories, but when you look at the stories and they have no substance, then people in the know will realize this, and you know, you can even understand why the people in Rome are so defensive, because they're looking at these stories, there's no substance to these stories, and the people out there in the pews, they're affected because they don't know. But I said they're looking for a smoking gun. They probably won't find it, because although he has grown in understanding and awareness of the evil of this problem and how you need tough rules to deal with it, he has himself always shown himself to be very much on the ball, and whatever he has done, especially since he was given the job in 2001, in bringing in regulations and rules and toughening up and opening up and getting rid of any cover-up has always been extremely positive. I think he's the man who has done most in the Catholic Church to get rid of this problem.
Okay, Jack Valero from Catholic Voices, thank you very much.
Thank you.